I'm about to share a story that Brian Menard told us during our Veterans Day stream, but I just have to apologize in advance for the audio quality. Brian sent us pristine audio, but unfortunately, we had a speaker in the room that was feeding his audio through a mic, and because we weren't monitoring that mic, we had no idea there was an echo until afterwards. So the story is great. I have to apologize for the audio quality.
All right, so I'm in a comfort zone, and I think it's time. Now, Geoffrey, Joe, there's one stipulation to this story, all right?
Okay.
And it's, you guys can't laugh.
I can't laugh?
Yeah, you can't laugh. Chat, you can't laugh.
Okay, I'm not a guarantee.
All right.
I'll do what I can.
Because we can see your face, Joe, and I'll watch this. I'll watch this back, and I'm gonna look for that little crack of a smile.
I'm already laughing. You're already sabotaging me. This is like yawning in front of me.
Like I'm already laughing, and you haven't even started the story, man. Like
no, listen, it's because it's the real deal. All right, like you'll understand. All right, so we'll start the story like this. I was deployed in Iraq, 2008, midsummer. I was about halfway through my deployment, and 18-year-old Brian Menard, Marine Corps infantry, good time. And at this point, my deployment, we had already seen our fair share of combat. We had a sniper in our AO who was actually picking. We lost 3 Marines in the area that we were operating into a sniper. So we were taking constant fire from this guy, and we were just the 2 weeks that this happened in was a pretty interesting 2 weeks combat-wise. Like we were just getting hit consistently. And it was a bad time for the deployment. And we went out on a mounted patrol. It was supposed to be just an easy, around the corner type of deal. When I say around the corner, it's really like we might do like 12, 13 clicks, and we drive real slow. We kind of just it's like a show of force, like we just kind of like a presence thing. And we were just driving around a couple of our known towns. So we're going down MSR Mobile, really, really, really big highway in Iraq, and we're rolling, and boom, tire goes flat. So we're stuck on the side of the road. We don't have a spare on the back of our truck. I'm in a Humvee. I don't have a gun truck. Like it's just me and the driver. And we're sitting in a truck, and it was our truck that had the flat tire. So we end up pulling over to the side of the road. We're all in a line. We had to call in a mechanic team to come out and fix our tire because obviously we can't drive. So we're sitting there, and when I tell you guys, it was probably the hottest day of my whole deployment. It was insanely hot outside, and of course this zombie's gonna try to get me, and my truck didn't have AC, so we're sitting there, we're sweating, we're dying, we're waiting for this truck to come. I'm sitting there talking to my buddy Weavers. I'm like smoking a cigarette. At the time I used to smoke back then, and we're just sitting there staring out into the field, just bored out of our minds, waiting for this truck to show up. So I sit there, I put my lighter down on the little vent or whatnot. We're sitting there talking and whatnot. And all of a sudden we see these guys probably about 400 meters out across this big field in this building. And I'm like, man, they're moving around a little weird, don't you think? And he's like, yeah. So we're just watching them, we're watching them. And at this point, my windshield, it's hard to explain, but the windshield had already been shot quite a few times by the bullet. So when the bulletproof glass gets hit, it like gets this weird like indent look to it. So it's really, really hard to see out your windshields. And they only replace driver side windshields. That's the only priority. So the driver can see, but when you're the passenger, it's not a priority for them. So my windshield was already pretty shot up, and I couldn't see out of it. So we're sitting there, we're watching these guys, we're watching them, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't know if you've ever been shot at, but all of a sudden it's hard to explain. Like I just had this pressure, like this pop in front of my face, and it was like the glass from the windshield flew and hit me in the face, and I'm like, oh my god, like this bulletproof glass just got penetrated by a bullet. Like that's like it's crazy. Now it does happen if the glass gets hit too much, it loses its integrity, and the bullets will start coming through. So I'm like, oh my god, like a bullet just came through. I kind of closed my eyes, and I'm wearing all this gear, so I can't move anywhere. So I'm like, all right, high caliber sniper rifle being shot at me right now. I'm stuck in this little seat. What do? I got out the truck, you know what I mean? Because I'm on the opposite side of where the ground came from. So I get out, I get on the side of the vehicle. I'm standing there, or I'm like hunched down up against the wheel well, And my buddy Weavers, he's in the truck, like trying to lay down as much as he can. I'm like, do you see where it came from? Do you see where it came from? He's like, nah, dude, I don't know where it came from. I didn't see it. So we're sitting there, we're waiting, and I'm nervous as hell because I'm outside of an armored vehicle now, sniper possibly in the area, and we don't know where the shot came from. So my squad leader like sees us in the front, like hunched down. So he gets out the truck. He comes like bounding to me, like going vehicle to vehicle, and he makes his way over to me, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "We took contact, we took fire, sniper. Probably the only buildings we can see are the buildings up to our left side." And he's like, "All right, we'll radio it in." So they radio up to battalion, and they're like, "Hey, troops in contact. We're taking fire from a sniper." And the one thing the American military does not mess around with is snipers. Like, they'll call in helicopters, they'll call in all that stuff for support because a sniper threat is a pretty big deal. So they radioed in, tried to, told the battalion what was happening. And my squad leader looks into the truck. He's like, "All right, where did the bullet hit?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And we're looking at the window and we don't see anything. So he's like, "All right, wait." I was like, "I don't know, mate," because the glass is already so messed up, it's hard to tell. But now I'm looking at the glass, I'm squinting, I'm like, I don't see anything. There really, I don't know. And he's like, "Well, maybe hit on the edge here." And I'm like, "No, like the glass came in." And all of a sudden, once the adrenaline started going down, I'm looking around and I'm like, "No, there's nothing there." Like, was I hallucinating? Like, and we just like, "No, something happened." So we're looking around and guys, there's nothing. So this moment we realized, okay, we just radioed up to battalion that we took contact from a sniper. They're mobilizing, potential helicopters and all. So we got to stop that stuff really, really quick. So we radio up, "Hey, false alarm. We don't know what's going on." We'll radio back. So I'm sitting there feeling like an idiot. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I looked up at the gunner. The gunner's just sitting there with his arm crossed, like not a care in the world. So I'm like, man, what is going on? I'm really, really confused at this point. I'm like, something hit my face, something hit my window. And I literally felt like I was losing my mind at this point. So I get back in the truck. I'm really, really embarrassed at this point. And I'm looking around, and sure enough, there's just nothing, guys. There's no glass anywhere. There's no impact. And I'm like, oh man, so a few minutes pass, I spooked my LT. He's like, "Just drive on the flat. We'll just drive back to base on the flat tire. Don't worry about it." We ended up bending the rim to crap. But as we're driving back, I'm like, I felt like such an idiot. I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. So I put the cigarette in my mouth. I'm like, "Where's my lighter?" I'm checking my armor, I'm checking my pockets. I'm like, "Where the hell's my lighter? It's nowhere to be found." What ended up happening was, it was so hot out that day, I had put it up on the vent, and the bulletproof glass acts as like a magnifying glass. So when I put the lighter up on the vent, it heated up and it popped in my face. And now it was an enclosed vehicle, so there's a lot of pressure, like, you can't really hear. It magnifies the sound. So when it popped, it popped. And yeah, I got hit in the face with the plastic from the lighter. And I ended up calling in like in a legit combat situation. We called in a sniper because my lighter popped in my face. It was a pretty big deal, actually. When I got back, they had an award ceremony about 2 weeks later, and my battalion sergeant major, everybody standing in formation, and he's like, "Where's the idiot that got shot at by a lighter?" I'm like, "Oh my God." So I'm here, Sergeant Major. He's like, "Get up here." So I run up there. I'm standing in, parade rest. And, "To all who shall see these presents, greeting." No, and they literally did a full-blown award ceremony, and they gave me a ribbon, a legitimate ribbon with a Bic lighter glued to it. And
that's the best.
They made me wear it on my armor. I wish I kept it. I ended up losing it before I even came back. But yeah, I got.
Now, why are we not allowed to laugh at that again? Is it because the sergeant major hears it every time he's like, "I didn't mean that as a joke"?
No, yeah, I mean, it was quite an embarrassing thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I a lot of the guys I served with still to this day, they're like, "Oh man, you remember when your lighter blew up in your face and you thought you got shot at by a sniper?" And I'm like, "Oh guys, we're gonna bring this up again?" Like, it's probably one of the most embarrassing things that ever happened to me. But
well, you never get teased for the things that you want that make you look good, Like,
oh no, never.
Yeah. So but at least you've got a lighter story. That's pretty funny.
it's pretty bad. I got a lot of vets in my community. You know, they'll still bring it up, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But I think it's okay because I've been shot at by real snipers plenty of times.
Right.
You know, so the one time I got it wrong, I got it right more times than I didn't. So.
Yeah, and hey, wounded pride, way better than the other kinds of wounds.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd rather get shot at by a lighter than a sniper any day. So.
If you want to hear Brian's voice sounding good, go to his YouTube channel, which is over there. Click on it, subscribe. He's great.